Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee Chat. Stephanie, we are so glad you are here. I have been actually itching to reach out to you and just connect and learn all the things you're going to teach us, but I wanted to wait until the coffee chat because I felt like I shouldn't get a head start. I wanted to just dive into it with you here, but why don't you start by telling us a little about yourself, your business, but also personally, just introducing yourself to us. Tell us about yourself, personal life.
Well, first of all, Colleen, thank you. This is a great, 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 great event. I mean, hosting your coffee chat, like it's good. And so thank you for doing that and providing the space. And first of all, for those of you who are nervous about being on camera, I am not only introverted, but I'm socially awkward and have attention issues. So if you feel like you are the exception, realize you can still do great things even with what you perceive as a limitation. It's usually not. It's usually a superpower. Other people just don't know it. I am wife, mom, two kids, one cat, husband, 34, 35 years, something like that. And that's pretty exciting. I don't know. He's put up with a lot from me. I put up with a lot from him. Thankfully, neither one of us wanted to leave at the same time. That's usually the secret to a lasting marriage. I have 30 years in the corporate arena. 30 years as an engineer in the manufacturing sector, and then a couple of years in higher education. So very, very varied. And not like I don't have a dead broke story. Like a lot of people come on and like, I was dead broke and then I started my business and, things just happened and it was great. That's not my story. My story is here I was in a six-figure job and was not living out my full potential that I felt. So something was still lacking. And that's when I started to step into entrepreneurship as a way for personal development and for wellness. That's how I got started. People think, oh, you talk in front of people, you're not introverted. I'm a smart introvert. Okay. A smart introvert. Okay, I'm gonna give you a secret. If you're an introvert, I'm gonna tell you how to be a smart introvert, and we'll dig more into this. And Colleen can ask me whatever, and I'm gonna give you all I got today. A smart introvert will introduce themselves to you, find out what it is you are looking for, and then go find other people in the room that have what you're looking for and connect you. So then we don't have to talk to you. We can just listen. Now, don't
Oh,
share
yeah.
that with people who are not on here. Like you're getting super duper top secret stuff right now. So don't share that with people who did not come to the coffee chat, but try it out. You'll win every time.
I love that. And you know what, Stephanie? I love that what you said about marriage. I think we are going on, it'll be 36 years in another month or so, 6 weeks for us. And we always said that we didn't get divorced, but whoever asked for the divorce had to take the kids. So we just stayed. No,
That's good too.
in all reality, we always decided if we ever did get divorced, there were just times when we didn't like each other. So what we really wanted was a duplex with a magic door that went
Absolutely.
between, right? So we could have
Yes.
a little bit of space because
Yes.
we've always been best friends and we never want to be away for very long.
Yeah.
We just wanted
Yeah.
to go to your room kind of thing.
I like that.
Like,
Yes.
get out of my business kind of
I
thing
just
for
need
a
to go to
minute.
my room for a minute. No, just give me a minute.
Yes, and I've often said to my family, even, mom's going to timeout. Till she gets a better attitude, let her go. And I don't know why they say that toddlers need a snack and a nap. That is the biggest lie. I, at 55, need a snack and a nap. A lot
Amen,
of
sister.
times changes your entire attitude. I mean, especially as entrepreneurs, we're sitting in front of our computer, we're working, 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 working. Lunch comes and goes, and then we're like, it's almost dinner. Just make it. And by the time you stand up to find out what's for dinner, you're ripping somebody's head off.
Oh my gosh.
Should have
Yes.
had a snack.
Yes. Yes. My husband's still in a corporate role, And so I'm working, full time as an entrepreneur now. And unfortunately, my lunchtime nap time happens about 2:30. Okay. So I have to text him so he doesn't come home and think I've been slacking off all day. I'll text him and say, it's lunchtime. So if he gets home and I'm taking a nap, he'll know literally this is planned. I haven't been doing this all day.
Yes. And that midday nap just hits different as an entrepreneur. I don't take them very often, but sometimes I'll get in the pool and I will literally fall asleep. So I always set my alarm before I get in the pool for an hour. All righty. So does everybody here kind of know everybody? Does everybody know Carl? No.
No.
Let's go around and just take 1 minute and introduce ourselves, and we'll go in this order. We're going to go Carl, Keith, Ken, Donna, Sarah, Lynn, Dawn, and Jessica. Jessica, if you can, I know you're traveling. Go ahead, Carl.
I'm Carl. I have been a business consultant since 2010. I'm basically giving back. I don't charge for my consulting, and I founded the I Refuse to Fail Partnership, which is a free networking group that we do every first, second, and fourth Wednesday. And then I recently started the Connections Directory, which is a platform that we've created for businesses and networkers, and we do a meeting on the third Tuesday, which happens to be tomorrow. In the morning, we do that one, and that's pretty much what I do.
And if anybody's interested in attending his events, I do list them in the Entrepreneurs Networking Connection, my Facebook group, so you can always just grab the link there. Keith, how about you?
Well, for the small few that don't know me, I'm heavily involved in the health space. I'm on a mission to save as many lives as possible and or positively impact as many lives as possible. And after finding out how to reverse heart disease 17 years ago, I have been on a mission to share that with as many people as possible so that they can do the exact same thing. So some people I work with because they have a health challenge, some people I work with because they would like to incorporate this in what they do with the people that they're in touch with. So I work both angles with people.
Nice.
Thank you, Ken.
So, hi, I'm Ken. I think I met everyone so far, but I have a virtual assistant agency and I help small entrepreneurs with their admin, tech, or social media contents.
She's the best VA. And
Oh,
so is
thank you,
her
Colleen.
agency, but I like her. Donna.
Good morning, everybody. Donna Sylvester from the West Coast, Seaside, Oregon, and I help people be memorable in their sphere using the power of gratitude and personalized connections.
Nice.
And she sends cards out, real cards you can hang on in your hand that have your pictures on them and things like that. They're really a very good asset for business owners. Miss Sarah.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Fernandez and I'm the editor of Life Mastery Magazine, a digital monthly magazine created specially for midlife women. Thank you.
Lynn.
Lynn Lionhood with Legal Shield and ID Shield. I do benefits for small businesses. I do a plan for a small business owner, and I give you a Don't Screw With Me card for your personal life. I also have a weekly radio show, Lunch with Lynn. So everybody's more than welcome.
Miss Dawn.
Hello, everyone. This is Dawn Tellinghusen from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I have enjoyed my 42 years as an ambassador with the Avon Company, and I am more than just your ding-dong lady.
And Jessica, are you available to introduce yourself?
She mentioned in the chat she's not at a place she can talk right now.
Okay. All right, Jessica. Well, I will just tell you that Jessica runs, she does grief, I want to say grief counseling. I could be saying that wrong, but she had started a Facebook group specifically geared towards women who are widows. And she has now expanded that to include any women who are going through any sort of grief. So child loss, family issues, job loss, whatever kind of thing would create grief in your life. All right, Stephanie, let's dive into it. I love your first tip, by the way. I think that's brilliant.
Well, I want to also say that, maybe you don't find yourself as an introvert, and that's okay. It doesn't just apply to introverts. It doesn't just apply to midlife women either. And so if you found yourself in a place where you lack some confidence, my, overall tip would be for you to tap into something else, tap into that courage, because typically courage comes before confidence. So let's look at how we can, and Colleen, just stop me. Something comes up, you want to dive in?
Right. And if
Stop.
anybody has questions, we can just
Ask
put it
questions.
out there. Yeah.
Please make it's a chat. It's not a Stephanie talking head show. It's a chat and a conversation. And I want you to feel like you left with something of value since you're hanging out with us. Those of you who are introverts would appreciate my mug. It says, "Go awake. I am introverting." So that's something that you can show to people when you don't want to be bothered. That gives them a sign. So when you talk about courage before confidence, you want to look at, first of all, give yourself permission to pivot, because we've come from, a lot of entrepreneurs come from corporate environment or some structured environment, and they're like, oh, I was good at that, but I'm not so good at this. And the world is very extroverted. So here's my first tip is embrace fears. Like, just embrace it. Say, you know what? I'm scared as poop to be able to do this. I have no idea how to do this. In the entrepreneurial space, it is okay to not have all the answers. So just embrace that. Now, you don't want to show up on camera being, having that conversation all the time. I'm so scared to be. No, I'm not talking about that crap. I'm talking about, I don't know how to do a landing page. I don't know how to do all this fancy stuff. Actually, Colleen is pretty good with that. So you don't even have to worry about that. I don't know how. Well, somebody does. So embrace that fear and shine a light on it. When you shine a light on a fear, it exposes it and it loses the power that it has to cripple you.
That's
So,
true. And I think that I think there's so much to be said for being in the right rooms. And so you have to put yourself in the rooms before you're ready. I feel like you have to get in those rooms and not be afraid to go ahead and analyze everybody and see who can help you with different things.
I'm
Because
so glad you said
different
that.
tools online than what we're used to in the real world. Having had brick and mortar businesses, there's so much different online that I didn't know about that I have to ask. But I do know that if you were to put a fear out there, if I were to come into this meeting and say, hey, I don't know how to create a landing page, I may have 10 people knocking on my door like, oh, I could do it for you. And that's not what I want. I think that the best thing is to create the relationships. Like if I see somebody has an asset that I could benefit from, build that relationship with them and get to trust them and truly understand their business processes and who they are as a person. Because if they're not somebody that you would sit down at a meal with, is it really somebody you should be doing business with? And then that gives you a little added layer of protection against being taken advantage of too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said the words, the right words is put yourself in the room and be able to analyze the room and build relationships. I mean, it goes both ways, because if I don't, you're right. If I don't want to have dinner with you, if I didn't like Colleen, I never would have said, hey, I'd love to have coffee with you on Monday. Just, if we didn't feel like we clicked, it just wouldn't have happened. Another tip that I'll share with you is break your big, huge goal into small daily micro movements. A baby step, just whatever that baby step is for your business. We can be overzealous, especially what do we call ourselves? High achievers. We're gonna own it. We are it, right? We are that 10%. Some of us are 5%. We're high achievers. We're really hard on ourselves. We say we're gonna go tomorrow. We're gonna be on the moon. However, maybe the first step is, okay, what kind of spacesuit do I need? How about I go on Amazon and get a spacesuit, right? Take those small micro steps in your business and celebrate that micro step. And that's where I see a lot of entrepreneurs, especially my more quiet achievers, quiet leaders, my introverts, ambiverts. We want to celebrate the big thing. We want to hold it in until we get it all done. But what we want to do is celebrate the baby steps. Because when you celebrate a victory, your brain doesn't measure how big a victory or how little a victory it is. It fires off those happy chemicals like, whoop, we got a victory, right? So that sets us up to take the next step in terms of being victorious.
All right. So Carl, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you're saying. First of all, I've worked with a lot of introverts doing business consulting because you meet all kinds of people, right? And my forte is more in sales and marketing, helping people with that. And when you're introverted, sometimes that's very difficult for somebody to put themselves out there. And the biggest issue I find with people who call themselves an introvert is that they've accepted it. Okay, I'm an introvert. That's what I am. Okay. But, if you're not willing to change, nothing changes, And so you do have to take those baby steps that you're talking about. And I generally, in the sales and marketing aspect, if that's what I'm working with them, I tell them, look, you don't have to know anything. All you have to do is ask questions, find out what their need is. And then if you have it, fill it. If not, find somebody that does. But take that baby step of starting to work. I know that even I'm not an introvert by any means, and Colleen will probably attest to that. But when I first started doing, when I first started doing networking, I stumbled all over myself standing up and, oh my gosh, I've got to tell people who I am and what I do. And of course, they want you to do an elevator sales pitch, which I don't do in my group. And then when I got on Zoom, I thought, oh my God, I got to put this ugly mug in front of people. You got to get to the point of, hey, this is what you get, and I'm sorry. You got to not worry about, you got to just not worry. Just get out there and do it. And like you said, just do it in little bits and pieces, because repetition will find its way to you not becoming an introvert, or at least you'll in each area that you're working on. So I don't disagree with anything you're saying.
I appreciate
I think
you.
too. Yeah, I think going along with that, that there are things we do and we do scared. And if we do them enough times scared, then it does become easier. That doesn't take the butterflies away. It doesn't mean that, and that's where I feel like you could be a true introvert and still show up every day. And gradually, it's a gradual shift from being an introvert. And maybe you only become unintroverted in this world. Maybe still when you're face to face, you still have that fear, and that fear is overwhelming. But I think that even for, just say, speaking in public, I've been speaking in public for years. But if I have to prepare something to say in public, I have anxiety for weeks. It's just miserable to be around me. If I am somewhere and somebody calls on me to speak last minute, I can get up and speak all day and do it well.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, though, is you got to take that first step. I think sometimes too many people put a label on themselves. I'm an introvert, so that's what I'm going to be. Okay. And you can't do that. Without change, nothing changes.
And one of those things, Carl, I'm glad you brought that up, is when my clients work with me, I don't accept that answer. That's one of the things. I don't accept that answer, because I have been there. I know I am that. I'm not limited because I am that. I'm actually more of a baddie because of that. Right? On my podcast, I actually say I'm not shy, timid, or needing to be fixed. I'm an introvert, and that's my superpower. Introverted AFF. Absolutely fabulous and feisty. So we set the ground rules for that as part of who we are, but we get the right to decide how we show up. And we can show up powerfully and we can impact people, but we're not going to put ourselves in a corner. No, 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 no. My people that work with me know it's not acceptable to wear that hat and say, oh no, it's because I'm an introvert. I can't. Oh no. You might be, but you are. So I'm glad you brought that up because you're absolutely right.
You know, I think a lot of it is self-confidence. You know, they don't
Yes.
feel confident in themselves. So if you don't
There
feel
you go.
confident in yourself, who else is going to feel that way, right?
And that is that's another huge part of it as well. Some of it comes from society rewarding more outspoken than the more quiet. And so then that over years, that plays on your confidence over time. I know Lynn has her hand up. I want to make sure I hear from the lady.
And so, you know what? I think that an introvert, I think, first of all, I think it's wonderful that we're all different. And I think that's really important. If we were all cookie cutters of each other, we wouldn't be interested in talking to anybody. But I think that an introvert needs to realize that they don't have to change and become an extrovert to be successful. They have to accept where they are. I think another good thing they could possibly do, because I would tell them to get a coach like you. I didn't even know there were coaches like you. I think that's incredible for people that are struggling, to have somebody who really understands it. You're not reading out of a book, you've been there. But I think if they partnered with an extrovert so that that person can take the pressure off and do the things that are uncomfortable for the introvert, they don't feel like they have to change. I also think that a way to make them more comfortable, you know, they're probably extra worried. Like, now, I can't even believe that Colleen ever stumbles about making a speech about anything, because I think I've called on her at the last minute and she does a fabulous job. Meatloaf story is my all-time favorite. I could hear that every day and I would still love it. But I think that, you know, an introvert in my eyes is very nervous about getting all the facts out and making sure they're all perfect, which they don't have to be. I tell the people who are even extroverts, so what if you screw up? They don't know that you've screwed up because they don't know your business like you do. That just gives you an extra reason to talk to them a second time and say, hey, you know what? I thought of something that I didn't share with you. But I would tell them, just practice telling stories about how you've helped people with your business. It's a much more comfortable thing to share a story than it is to try to remember all the facts that were on the brochure. And that way it'll help them to be a little more comfortable as well. But I love them all. Give me the introverts, the extrovert. And if they're an introvert, I'll always help them. I love it when they tell me that up front that they're nervous. Then I'll make them very comfortable.
Yeah.
I think too that there's a certain level, and I'm not saying that I don't respect everybody who has the courage to stand up, but there's a certain level of respect that I give and I feel when I know somebody is struggling to do something and they're doing it anyways. And then I'm going to add to that if you don't have the courage to be fiercely proactive for yourself and the things that you want in your business, you will never have the confidence from having achieved them. You have to have the courage to be proactive for yourself and your business and what you want before you'll ever gain the confidence from having achieved that. And so I absolutely agree with your premise that courage comes before confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one I'll share is that I hear all the time, and many of us have heard, and I'm going to put a spin on it. You may or may not agree with it, but I've often heard and been told, oh, Stephanie, you're doing great. You just need to get outside of your comfort zone. Okay. That absolutely goes against where I have been successful. I expand my comfort zone. Courage before confidence, right? Expand your comfort zone. Look at where you've been successful. Let it creep. And that becomes a growth zone. Because if you take someone who's truly trying to get to that confident part as an introvert, and you throw them out there and you rip away everything that they've known to be successful, you're setting them up for failure. So I help them expand your comfort zone. Well, what about this have you done before? Let's see how we can transfer that. And before long, it gets to, like Carl mentioned, and you as well, Colleen, it becomes something that is natural, that next step being natural.
Yes, and I think that I hear people say all the time, and I've heard them from the time I came online building a business, they're like, just do it messy, just go do it. And I feel like for me, that's not how I ever want to present myself. I don't want to put the cart before the horse. I want to have my foundation and know what I'm doing, and then go forward having confidence in that, that I have that set up. And I know everybody's different, but for me, I don't like to do that. I would rather work on it gradually and get things in place and then go do that, whatever I got in place.
Now, and sometimes what I found is I have to watch it being perfect before I go, right? I do have to have some level of getting out there and not have it perfect in my eyes. Sometimes it just has to be good enough. And I really do encourage some level of practice. Maybe practice with a smaller group before you make a big group, right? I encourage that. And that goes with the next tip is, and Lynn will love this one. Recall lion-hearted moments. From wherever they came in your life, get a list of when you have been bold, when you have been brave, when you have done it afraid, when you have accidentally been courageous and didn't know it, but when you look back, and make a list of those and put them on a sticky note. I like sticky notes. Put it on a sticky note on your desk or on your computer. So when you need to reach into a bag of courage, you can reach into that and say, oh yeah, I remember that time I was a lionheart. I remember that. And so that is that next tip is recall those lion-hearted moments, because they will fuel your belief for the next time. They'll cancel out some of those times when you're fearful. So 3 out of 11 is the color of the day now. I don't know what that is. I was reading Keith's comment. I don't know what that means, but he'll let me know.
I said, I think pink is the color of the day. I'm looking around all the pretty pinks that are there.
And I was
I'm like,
saying,
oh,
I was
yeah,
3 out of 11 be the dominant.
Remember I said I got attention issues, Keith. Remember I said that. And to point out imperfections. Today, you've heard me make a lot of the mistakes speakers tell you not to. And and I've stuttered and all that. However, you're a human being with all the AI, love AI, but with all the AI, you stand out being real and being human. And so another courageous act is I would encourage you to lean more into your humanity than trying to be puffed up in a way that is not really authentically you. I genuinely care about people. That is going to stand out. That takes courage, whether you believe it or not. It takes courage to be your real self and be a human these days. Because everybody's wanting to be perceived that, I won't say everybody, a lot of people, not us, because we're amazing. A lot of people want to be perceived as something they're not. Well, I'd rather be perceived as a human that cares about people. And if I can't help you, I'm going to point you to somebody that can.
Yeah,
And
I
that
love
takes
that.
courage.
I think too, we talked about this a little bit last week and some calls I had with other people or some of you people, is that when I sit down to scroll social media, I keep seeing these color blocks of words. Now these became popular probably last January or so. And the idea was to draw people to interact with it. Who cares? Who cares? I literally scroll right past those. I am searching for a picture of a real person in real life. And then I want to stop and pause on their post and communicate with them.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind myself to always be that person and not the color block post, because I don't want people to just interact. I don't want you to answer what's your favorite shirt color or something like that. Or I want to actually build relationships. And so I think that we need to make sure we're showing up authentically. Who said it? Somebody in one of our networking groups said they posted something with a mistake in it. Allie, do you remember this? They posted something that had a mistake in it and people start commenting on it. Was it you, Sarah? Do you remember? Share that, will you?
It was Sarah.
Yeah, it was me on. Sorry, Ali, go on.
No, from ChatGPT.
Yes, exactly. So I've been doing a challenge with a friend of mine where we're posting one video a day on YouTube. I mean, we don't have a lot of followers and we're kind of, supporting each other. And by like day 7, she messaged me and she said, "Hey, Sarah, somebody left a comment on your video. Just you made a mistake. Just go back and fix it. And I don't know, maybe delete what the person said. I don't know, just figure something out because, And I'm like, what the heck did I do? So I go back to YouTube and I literally I asked ChatGPT for a first comment to my video. And I was in a hurry because Fridays are my volunteer day. So I copied and pasted it to YouTube exactly as it was. This is a great first comment for your video with all the things. And the person left a comment saying, "I think you meant to delete that first part," laughing my ass off. And I said, "Thank you," like in all capitals. I was wondering if anybody was paying attention, and you are. Seriously, thank you. And and that was just, of course, I deleted it, I corrected it and on all the things, but just to show that people are paying attention. And if everything goes well, nobody is going to comment. They just let it go. But if you make a little mistake, they feel they have the need to go and just, "You made a mistake," and I saw that. I found that so funny, but I mean, I was just not having it that day, and I thought, well, thank you. Somebody's paying attention. I'm going to keep up with the challenge.
I love it. I love it. I do. I like that. Thank you. That's good. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was good too. And I actually had somebody reach out today and send me a message. This person has been on my email list for months. They get all my emails, they open them all, and I go through and look at all the statistics. So I know that this person is opening all my emails, clicking on all my emails, and I don't know who they are. And I'm like, I've got to build a relationship with this person. And so I went, added them on social media, and they immediately replied with a message that said, "Thank you so much for your emails. They're so helpful to me."
Wow.
Who knew? So something else, you guys go through your CRM and add those people on your social media. Maybe they're just following you and they think you're too amazing to hang out, or they don't think you're a real person. They just think you're there. You're kind of like an idol kind of thing, which we don't
That's
see
true.
ourselves that way.
That's true.
None of us feel like we're too big to talk to anybody. But I think sometimes people think we feel that way.
That's good.
And my goal is to never be too big to talk to anybody. I have had somebody that I reached out with and I wanted to do a collaboration. She has a group with 115,000 people in it. And I just said, "Hey, I'm doing this big party for my birthday online. And I would love if you would answer this questionnaire, and I'll include your answers in the prizes for my viewers." And she says, "Girl, are you sure you want me in it? Because I'm your competition." And I said, "Nobody's my competition. I would love to have you in it." And she unfriended me.
Oh my God.
I was like, "Oh, okay. Apparently I am her competition." I don't feel that way. I feel like I just compete with me. It doesn't matter to me that she also has GHL. It didn't matter. I just thought she was wise, but it was kind of a funny thing.
Oh, wow. That's good.
It's interesting.
And I like that you reached out to her, and guess what? She rules herself out.
Yeah, and you know what? I
Your
think
people.
that we have a lot to learn from children. Have you ever noticed that children just go up and ask whatever they want to know? They don't care.
They don't care.
I mean, my grandson asked a lady at church why her neck looks like a turkey. I'm like, and she looked at me and I said, "He who asks the most knows the most." And she said, "Well, when you get old," and he's like, "Do you think mine will?" And she's like, "I do," and then we move on, right? So go ask for what you want and talk to people and reach out. I think I've reached out to everybody on here. Donna maybe reached out to me first. Allie probably reached out to me first. But I think I did a lot of reaching out for everybody in here, and I love the relationships that we've built.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed several in the room that I've met, and it's it's good people. It's good people. Like, you feel it. And I'm at the point where I don't want to be around people that have bad juju. Like, I don't need your bad juju in my business, in my life, in my circle, with my friends, with my contacts. I don't. I'm at that point where any business is, what is it? It used to be a saying, like, any business is good business or something like that.
Yes, it
It's
used
a
to be that.
crazy saying, but I'm like, no, any business is not good business.
And so, Stephanie, tell me if you have how you would handle, or if you have a tip for handling when you have somebody that wants to do business with you that you are uncomfortable with for whatever reason. How do you go about that? As an introvert, how would you advise somebody to go about that if it's that far out of their comfort zone? And I'm not
They want
saying
to do
like
business.
early
They
down
want
the
to do
line, but
business
just
with me, and I don't want to do business with them.
yes.
I would first of all find out what it is they're looking for, what they do, right? Because I do want them to be successful. And more than likely, if I have someone in my contact list that I know they'd be a better fit for, even if I'm not, besties with the other person, I would still refer them to that person. And I would say, I'm not the right person for you. We don't align on some things. Here are 3 people that might be a better fit for you and what you're looking for. And I would
I
direct
really
them to
like
those
that.
people.
Okay, Lynn and Carl, you're in the networking space. What do you think of that?
No, I think that works. A lot of times I mean, I believe in doing what you do best and farm out the rest. Okay. I've found a lot that right brain people, like IT people and very artistic people, a lot of times are introverted. Okay. Not always, but a lot of times they're introverted. They're better with the technical stuff, the behind the scenes stuff. I personally partner, I mean, in our connections directory, I partner with somebody that is very introverted, but very good technically. I suck at IT. Okay. And so why not let him do what he does best? I do what I do best, and it's a perfect marriage. That being said, I'm also working with him to get him a little bit more and more in baby steps, a little more extroverted, a little bit, getting him out a little bit more and helping him with that and practicing with it. In fact, he wanted to do a website, and I told him, I said, well, if you want me to help you with that and the sales of that, why don't, I'll be happy to be on screen with you. And so what I did is I sold it for him. And when we got all done, I said, so Greg, what did you think of that? And he said, well, that was great. He says, I could have done that, I think. I said, yeah, you could have done that. You just have to do it. And you're not going to be perfect every time you do it. You just have to do it. Well, the Nike thing, right? Just do it. And you'll find after a while it becomes second nature. It's just like swimming. You don't swim the first time you jump in the pool. You got to practice a little bit. And then after a while, it's just swimming. Babies walking. They don't walk when they come out of the womb. They got to crawl and they walk. It's no different than that. I don't think. But going back on if you don't mind, going back on making a mistake. I have somebody in my partnership that's a writer, and I rely on her to do a lot of my proofing before I send stuff out. But every once in a while, I'll get a wallet here and I'll send something out of my own, and invariably I'll make a mistake. And somebody will say to me, "Hey, Carl, you misspelled the word whatever." And I'll say, yeah, I just want to make sure you were paying attention. So I use that same philosophy. I'm not going to take ownership to it. I say, oh, I did that on purpose, And so I've used that. And then I actually did a marketing piece with that where I said, find the words that I've misspelled and win a prize. So they have to read everything, So
I
I
like
mean,
that.
you can take lemons and turn it into lemonade if you do it right, So, but on the introvert thing, yeah, I go back to just taking baby steps, or if you just say, no, I'm an introvert, I am so introverted, I just can't do it. Well, then get somebody else to be the front for your business, and you do the behind the scenes stuff. Do what you do best, and farm out the rest.
I love that. And so I have
Mhm.
one question that is twofold that will bless everybody in the room. If you're ready, Stephanie, I'm going to put you on the spot. Introverted
ready.
at all. There's no pressure. As a podcast host, or a host of networking, or a host of a Zoom call, or a host of just a call with a potential client, or just anybody, what is something that you do or we can do to help introverts be comfortable? I'm not here to make anybody uncomfortable. And I think everybody is brilliant and can shine in their own, but we have to open the doorway for that. So what is something that you do that helps them to relax and shine as their best self?
One is I've done a little bit of research on them. I find out things about them that are important to them. And then I connect on an area that is important to them to help them feel comfortable. The second is realizing that many introverts are more reflective. So you may not think that they're paying attention, or they're not absorbing, or they're not thinking. But you can ask, would you like a little bit more time to think on that? Would you like a little bit of time to reflect on that? That will be very appreciated because they know that you value their thought processes. So those are two things. And the third one would be just embrace who they are. If they trust you enough to tell you that they are an introvert, honor that, and knowing, oh, okay, you might need an energy break. Or asking, how's your energy going today? Because that really is a big one. It's okay. I'm like, right now we're in the zone of my 10 to 2 zone. And so I can be totally on. I went to a networking event on Friday that went from 7 to 2. At 3 o'clock, I was wiped out. I would have appreciated if I had to talk to someone, they're like, okay, this is not a good time for you, Stephanie. So those are just some tips that I would share as you're interacting, is just to be aware of how they are wired and honoring how they're wired, and then embracing that. So those are some of my thoughts, Colleen.
I love that. I feel like that brings value to the person. Anytime we find a personal connection and we can touch on that and bring them back to that helps them to feel valued. And I ask this in part too, because I feel like there's a young man in Lynn's networking that is very introverted. And I struggle sometimes to connect with them. I really want to, but I feel like maybe I don't do it exactly right. So that's good. That gives me something to go on to reach out to him when I am networking with him. Donna, you have a question.
It was a comment, really, another slant on your question, which is that a lot of introverts, I'm one, think before we talk. And we need time to formulate what we'd like to contribute. And so I hear you do it a lot, Colleen, when you say we're going to go around the room and we're going to go Stephanie, then Lynn, and you kind of prep people for your turn's coming. And so I think not putting them on the spot to speak immediately and letting people know, hey, I'm going to be asking a question later in the meeting about this. Be thinking about what your thoughts on that would be. I think that's another way to bring them into the conversation.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything to add to that? You're
Oh,
muted, Lynn.
Lynn, you're muted.
I think that's why asking the question at my meeting to me is so important. Because if I have somebody like Donna who says that she's an introvert, when I ask the question that says, like, where's your favorite beach that you ever went to? And I ask that question in the beginning of the call, she's got plenty of time to think about it and can start with that question if that makes her a little more comfortable than to start with something that she has to introduce what it is that she does. Of course,
I
I don't
love that too.
all Donna has to do is hold up that stinking brownie and she's in like Flynn. I'm not shitting you. I think that's how I ended up gaining weight, was because I was sending brownies and I was getting brownies back. And you can't let them just sit there. You got to eat them. So,
Well, and I will say too, just another plug for Donna, as I got another card and it was a virtual card from Donna and it had a Starbucks gift card in it. So how fun is that, that you can also send that?
Yeah.
So
Thanks, Colleen.
I love that. And I just want to make sure everybody here, Allie, do you go to lunch with Lynn? And if you don't, let's get you connected so you have at least have the link if you'd like to. And Donna, same thing. I'd love to get you the link so you can go to lunch with Lynn. It's the best 2 hours. I would never network for 2 hours. That's way too long, but I love every second of the 2 hours. And just so you know how important it is to me and how much I love it, I have had a standing hair and nail appointment for years, every Thursday. And I rearranged my standing nail and hair appointment so I can be at Lynn's networking.
but your hair and nails look so good.
Well, I just get up and go really early in the morning so I can be done.
Good.
Surely you don't want standing hair.
I do, because if it lays flat, nobody likes that. I mean, Keith does, but
Yeah,
Hey, Colleen,
I'll plug Colleen, Lynn's group as well. I want to just plug Lynn's group as well. I am very, very guarded with my time and with my energy, knowing how I'm wired. Very. Everybody does not get access to my energy.
yes,
Lynn's group, because they suck the life out of me. Okay.
not Lynn's group.
But
They don't
not Lynn's group. And
yay.
if there was a
Fun.
group that I would recommend for more introverted people, it's Lynn's group, because you're absolutely right. She's made me feel welcome, not knowing me from Adam. She's made me feel welcome in that group, in that community, how I show up. She is very embracing of that. So that is your model for how you asked me that question, Colleen. We could really look at Lynn's group for how she's able to do that on a regular basis in terms of networking.
And I think if we look at Lynn, let's just look at Lynn.
Everybody look at Lynn.
I think if we look at Lynn too, one of the examples I've used Lynn for is the connection. There's a real connection. Some days I actually get a text message from Lynn that says, I'm just popping in to make sure you're having a good day. And I feel like, I feel like for a second, Lynn cares about me. And I'm not getting that message from anybody else. And so when we're dealing with introverted people, that's something else that we can do, to just reach out. And I'm not introverted, but just to be able to reach out and include them a little bit, to make them feel seen and valued and heard, is just reach out a little bit, make those connections and build those relationships.
That's good.
Hey, Colleen, are you talking about a specific person on my call? Are we talking about Joel?
Yes.
You're having no case. So I want to talk to you about Joel for just a minute, because I realized that Joel was different. And I realized that it must be very hard for Joel.
Yes.
So I did a little background stuff behind the scenes, and I talked to Deanna, and Deanna said, do you understand why? I mean, it seems like he's like when you're trying to start the lawnmower, in the olden days, you used to have to pull the cord and pull the cord and pull the cord until you could get it started. Well, that's kind of the way Joel is. You got to pull the cord about 15 times before he actually starts talking. And then I realized that Deanna explained to me that he was neurodivergent, and that was his problem, is that he has a hard time getting things going. So I realized very early on when I had a conversation with him that he's very comfortable talking about his music, because I hear he's really a phenomenal musician. I mean, an outstanding musician. So that's why you'll see that I used to try to tell everybody that he was neurodivergent and be calm with him, but then I thought maybe that doesn't make him feel comfortable. So I just started asking him, so I hear you're a great musician too. What instrument do you play? Right. And get him talking about the things that he's comfortable with, and then he can get the rest out. It does make it difficult that he has a very heavy accent from England. It's easier to understand Keith than it is him. And so that makes it difficult too. So sometimes I will help him by speaking when he's done about what it is that he does, so that people will try to reach out to him. But I feel bad. I want to help those people as much as I can.
And I have a son who had a speech impediment. And one of the things that, I mean, I finally just about lost my mind with a therapist and said, no, what he needs is people to just be quiet and practice the damn pause. Just practice the pause. Because when I would say to all the children, stop, Ty has something to say. And we would wait and he has to have that time, the pause. He has to have the low noise and the pause for a minute, and then he puts his thought process together and can speak it, and speaks it beautifully. Instead of somebody saying he's stuttering, I'm like, he doesn't have a stuttering problem. He has a thinking problem, and he needs to comprehend that everything's quiet and we're listening and feel valuable for a minute, and then he can say it well. And so I've been practicing the pause with Joel, and I just think he's just the sweetest man. He just has a heart of gold, and he's just a good person. And I really appreciate having a melding pot of friends and networking people. And I appreciate, Lynn, that you give him respect in being different and welcome that, because I want all my friends to be different. Imagine if you were in a room full of Colleens, how damn boring would that be? You know, we want everybody to be different and come together and bring your very best, whatever it is. And I just appreciate that you enable that for him. So,
You know, I want it
Stephanie.
for myself too. So I always try to treat people exactly the way I'd like to be treated. It must be awfully hard when you have that issue to show up in a room where there's 40 people. I mean, if there were 5, it might not be so bad, but 40 people, he must sweat it when it comes his turn. And so I want to make him feel a little more comfortable.
Can you ask him the next day to play something for us in his spot?
Oh,
you know what I also noticed? I also noticed that he is much more comfortable when he has his dog on his lap. When his dog is on his lap, it's like he's relaxed.
And it may be a therapy animal.
Yes.
I wonder, Lynn, if you could have him when it's his turn to do his speech or his talk about his business, if he could play something. That would be brilliant, Keith. I love that.
Be prepared. He plays the drums. That ought to be interesting.
Oh, he doesn't do a guitar or anything, no?
I know. I think he just plays the drums.
But I thought he said he did something else.
Rub that off the blackboard.
I think he's played with some really, really decent, good bands.
That's awesome. Stephanie, will you bring us to a close? Share your conclusion with us. Give us something that we can carry into the week with it.
I'm gonna first of all, I want to let you know, and I have something I want to leave with you. Don't think that a group of introverts sitting around are quiet, okay? If you've ever had a group of introverts, we're like chatty chipmunks, okay? We don't shut up. So it's not that we have a problem talking. We're quite vocal. So that's just something else to keep in mind. But I want to leave you, with two things. The first one is for my introverts, entrepreneurs. And you don't have to be an introvert. I'm hoping I've shared something that is good for introvert, ambivert, extrovert, all of you when it comes to courage before confidence. We've talked about networking with the networking groups here with Carl and with Lynn. Get support. Get plugged into networking communities that work for you, and get a mentor. Get someone that is a coach or a mentor that is not going to put up with you settling for being less. That is something I encourage you to do to help you move into that avenue of confidence. When I read 3 Feet from Goal, it talked about 2 types of confidence. They talked about 2 types of courage. It talked about the courage to start and the courage not to quit. But I added a third one, and it was the courage to believe. And keep coming back and putting your coat hook for your business, putting that coat on that hook, is I have the courage to believe. It's my journey, it's my narrative. I'm unique, and I'm amazing, and I'm courageous. And that will lead to confidence. So that I wanted to leave you with that. There's also a gift as you're moving from courage to confidence. I have a resource to share with you. It's a resource to help you move and develop more confidence. It's Get Your Mind on Your Side. So it's seven tips to help you move through limiting beliefs. And it's getyourmindonyourside.com, because I'm pretty simple. I have to do things that I remember. And so that is my gift to you. I'll put that in the chat, and you can reach out to me. You can ask me any questions. If you're having trouble, you have a candidate. Now, Lynn, I can't read and talk at the same time, girl.
Okay,
but
I'll talk for just a second. I put the link in here for Lynn because she couldn't figure it out.
Okay. Okay. But I will, if you have someone even that you know that is you're like, man, Stephanie, I really want to help my client move faster, or I just don't get it. I could use some insight. Ask me, right? Ask me. I'm not looking to, this is a collaboration. This is how we help each other. It's like Colleen said, it's not a competition. And the people are meant for you. But if I can help you work better with who you're working with and help them be more powerful, just ask me. So that's it. That's all I got. I'm gonna put
Thank
the
you
link
so
in
much.
the comments for the for that resource.
Thank you.